For what? You're a chemical freak.
I'm a chemical super freak, actually, but I still need a gun. What's your name, convict?
I don't think you're gonna like it. I am Castor Troy.
I'm George from Austria.
I'm Bia from Portugal.
And I am Crit from the UK.
And you're listening to 3 Euros per movie. Today, we're gonna discuss the unofficial Nick Cage action trilogy with the 1996 released The Rock, 1997 released Con Air, and also released in 1997 Face Off.
It's a package.
It's a package. I heard the name The Trilogy of Awesome before, or The Age of Cage is also a great one.
No, I was going to make one up. It was not going to go well. Like Cage action. I was trying to merge his name with action, but it's not working. Cage action.
Nah, it doesn't really.
It didn't work. No, I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. I guess we're talking about The Rock first?
Yeah, let's talk about The Rock first. This is already going way off the rails, but I feel like it's very fitting considering the theme of today's movies.
Mm-hmm.
God, this movie's so much fucking fun.
Yeah.
I love this movie so much. It is honestly probably the best Michael Bay movie.
Yes, I would say so as well.
It's either this, Bad Boys, or maybe even Pain and Gain. Having not seen Ambulance, I can't talk about that film. But yeah, this film, oh my god. It definitely has his best cast. For sure, right?
Of course, yeah.
Probably, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, have you guys heard the theory that this is the final Bond movie?
The final Bond. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh no, I haven't. That's interesting.
Yeah, there's a theory that Sean Connery's character is like his version of James Bond, because obviously there's the theory that James Bond is just an alias, right? And then whoever takes over the 007 thing calls themselves James Bond as an alias.
Mm-hmm.
That's why they tell everybody their fucking name, even though they're a spy.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so obviously we don't know much about his past in this film.
But
That's
we
all,
know
you know,
he's British.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
And
that's
the
all we know.
spy.
He was trained by British intelligence, and that's it.
That's so hilarious.
So yeah, there's a theory that this is, you know, the final Bond film or whatever.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just throw that out there.
Usually I like to, start off with maybe a major theme that I discovered throughout these movies. I'm gonna have to skip that with these 3 movies, I'm afraid.
You didn't find a common theme? You didn't?
I mean, patriotism.
Yeah. I was like, I was loading. So I watched these 3 movies in the span of 2 days, okay?
Oh.
And I was loading up the last one, Con Air. And it just starts with American Army and whatever, and like being patriot, thinking about the country. And I was like, another one? I'm being brainwashed at this point.
America!
Like the propaganda is working. Like I wanna enlist.
You wanna go to war for a country.
I wanna be an American hero as well. Oh my god.
I guess, it's totally accurate. I mean, I wrote down US flag 1 minute in. It's the first note I have on The Rock.
What I love so much about this film being so patriotic and stuff is, one, these soldiers are kind of the bad guys unintentionally. Like, I feel like the film's trying to convince you that they're not actually bad guys, but they are. And secondly, the big hero of the film isn't Nicolas Cage. It's Sean Connery, who isn't American.
Yeah. True.
Can I just say, actually, on that point, so Sean Connery's character is Mason, right? If I'm remembering right.
Yeah.
The character names don't mean anything in these films. They don't matter. But there's a scene where Mason's fighting one of the soldiers, and the soldier calls him like an English cunt or something like that. And I could tell an American made this because Sean Connery even in this film, is Scottish, not English. And he didn't correct him. Which I can tell you right now is the most unbelievable thing in this entire movie. There is not a single Scottish person that will ever stand for being called English.
English, yeah.
That's amazing.
I'm pretty sure they explode, actually.
Well, I guess.
It's actually crazy.
But you said something about Mason being like the hero here, but I want to like give credit to Stanley, our boy Stan.
Our boy Stan.
Speed, Godspeed. He had, he pushed himself in the movie. Like, not Nicolas Cage, because, I mean, he might have. We have this previously, agent that is specialized in chemical weapons, and is now put into a situation where he has to save a whole city from chemical poisoning, spreading, whatever. And he just goes the extra mile and is even the one that makes Mason care about whatever they're dealing with. So I wanna, when can we go into spoilers from the get-go? Or
we'll just a warning, we'll spoil everything out of these movies.
Spoil us. Okay. So when Mason gets Stanley from the water after, the jets come and drop a bomb on the prison, I felt this, I don't know, I was about to cry. I was feeling emotions. Like he's pulling like this guy that was a little bit of a chicken and, is clumsy and he doesn't really know how to deal with weapons. He's just saved the day. And
he would have been the first person to ever cry at The Rock. Starring Nicolas Cage.
I swear.
The Michael Bay 1996 classic.
I was feeling emotional, okay? And it was a beautiful moment to see this character, to have this bond with a person, that is very much the opposite of him. And I don't know, I like simple characters like that, and I like this type of arcs. They're just very, very fulfilling. You're getting what you're gonna get, and it's just a pretty moment.
I mean, yeah, honestly, shout out to Stanley. You're absolutely right. Stanley's the boy.
He is.
He really is. He spent $600 on a Beatles vinyl. What kind of shit is that?
He's also obviously the most professional around. I mean, one of the first things we get to see about him is that he takes a call that he knows is gonna be FBI, that he knows that is gonna be a secret, whilst he is having sex with another woman.
True.
Yeah,
true.
He's really responsible with that.
I love that moment where like he goes, "It's the office," and then he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm at home. They're gonna know that they know I'm at home." And she's like, "How will they know?" And he goes, "It's the FBI."
Yeah.
It's the FBI, baby.
Of course they know I'm at home. Oh man, I love Nicolas Cage in this movie so much. I love
Nicolas Cage overall.
When you first meet his girlfriend or whatever, and he's talking about like how evil it would be to bring a baby into this world, and then she immediately tells him she's pregnant, and then he does a complete 180. It's a complete 180.
And she's like, "What do you think about it now?" And he's like, it's been a while. It's been a while. Like that's in the past.
Been 7 seconds, okay?
Yeah.
In there, and he's like, "A lot's happened since then."
This is such an amazing character introduction, honestly.
Nicolas Cage, man. There's no one else that I think could have pulled that off as well.
Yeah.
There's no, like, it's so made for him. But you know what was so sad was I actually planned on watching all of these films in one. Like, I was going to watch them in a row.
No.
But actually, during this film, I got a nosebleed and I passed out, like, halfway through this film.
It was the toxin,
Yeah, and I don't know what happened. I've had
I
have no idea.
Good, man.
I'm fine. But it's like
just bleeding,
the pure Michael Bay awesomeness and Nicolas Cage just fucking caused an aneurysm.
Oh my god.
Just just bled and passed
that's
out.
also like the most action movie thing ever.
I know,
Crit is like Crit passes out because everything is overwhelming, and he's like, "No, I'm good."
Listen, I don't know what was happening. Okay, it was all hazy. There was Michael Bay, there was crashes, Nicolas Cage, Sean Connery. I didn't know what was happening, man. I just had a nosebleed and passed out. It was too much.
You're like flexing all the muscles in your face. Your brain about to pop out. Like, oh my god,
happy.
the awesomeness!
Yeah, this is what too much awesomeness does to a person.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is your brain. This is your brain on Nick Cage.
Yeah, so I had a rough time because I had to wake up and then finish this movie. But man, I love how they introduce Sean Connery in this film. They introduce him like he's fucking Osama bin Laden. Like he's fucking Sirius Black.
Yeah.
Like the way they film him is so fucking sinister, like he's Hannibal Lecter.
True, but it is. It is.
It's
very...
so fantastic.
What did you guys think about General Hamill's cause?
What do you mean? Oh, like his whole motivation.
Because I was with him, I was like, just pay him the 100 million. Like, just let it go. Like, bro,
Yeah,
they did their service. Like, they deserve it.
I absolutely understand, but I'm not on
They
board.
would never.
Like, I'm on board with the cause, but not the action. You know, but it's a tricky one actually, because it's like there's no way of getting the results that he wants any other way.
And it was probably not gonna hurt anyone.
Yeah,
that was his plan, right?
Yeah, I genuinely believe that. I mean, he says eventually that their whole tactic was built on the threat of violence.
It's all about bluff.
Yeah, but they called the bluff, it's over.
Yeah.
And I like that scene where they first talk to him in the conference room. And they're explaining like who he is, and the guy's like, he's a fucking American hero.
Yeah.
I love that. And then I love that little interaction that they have. Like the one guy has like the little outburst at him, and he goes, I don't want to hear that man talk ever again. If he talks, I end the phone call.
Yeah, on a serious note, this is, I think, by far the one you could take the most serious out of these three movies.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
There's a lot of ambiguity surrounding the character dynamics of like the ethics of both sides, basically. The way this movie is, it is definitely absolutely silly, and the acting and the directing and everything works together to be silly, but that script could have been a very serious action movie as well, and it could have worked for that. Whilst I couldn't say that about the other two movies we're gonna discuss later on. The other two had to be that silly. Yeah, they had to be that silly to work. But this really is, on paper, it's a good script, man. There's some great character development. There's stuff happening. The little twists and turns the actual crime story makes are interesting. The plans the people crafted on both sides to overcome those obstacles are interesting. Like the location itself, the rock, the name-giving rock. It's all really entertaining, and it's a tight script.
Like, I know Michael Bay's a little bit of a shitpost when it comes to directors. Like, he's not taken as seriously as other people. But I will say, what Michael Bay does, no other director can do. Nowhere near as well. Like, they just can't.
Yeah.
Pulling this movie off is so difficult in the way that he did it. Like, you could get a different director, and this film could have been technically better. The directing could have been a bit more
purposeful.
I don't know. Yeah. But executing it to the point where, say, we have the gas chamber scene that is genuinely intense.
Yeah.
It is very fucking intense. And finding the balance between having the intensity of that scene, but also like kind of comedy where like he's got the needle and they're telling him to stab it in his heart. And he's like trying to muster up the courage to do it, and then he doesn't do it. There's humor and there's genuine intensity in that, right?
Sure.
And then after that, it gives you the perfect relief of when he's like, I nearly put this in my fucking heart.
Yeah.
It's genuinely incredible. Unironically, Michael Bay tapped into something. He just made something that I didn't expect him to be able to make. And I do think the performances are a big help, especially in the case of Nicolas Cage, because he knew when to play it serious and when to play it silly.
Because his character really is, like, if you would take the script serious and try to make a serious movie out of it, I think the Nick Cage character would be the biggest hurdle to achieve that. There is just an inherent silliness in that character. It might have been different on the paper. Maybe Nick Cage was a part of some funny lines or some decisions that character makes. Maybe that was due to that. But if that character, with all of his lines, with all of his actions, with the way he behaves around women, if that was all on paper, then that character would have been the biggest hurdle to make this into a serious movie.
Oh, absolutely.
But he just, the way it is in this movie, Nick Cage perfectly juggles the tone of it.
I think this is one of the things that is very underrated about Nick Cage, even like to now. Is like, obviously people talk about Nick Cage as if he's almost a parody, you know? But what they don't really give him credit for is when he knows when to be full Cage and when to not. You know, he is a very fantastic actor, regardless of all of the jokes and stuff. Like, he's a very good dramatic actor, and he's a very good comedic actor. And he taps into, like, the Jim Carrey-ness sometimes, and he knows when to do that and when to not, which is a skill I don't think is attributed to him as much as it should be. Because, you know, in this film especially, he has to play both. Because it is really a guy on this mission that he really didn't sign up for. You know, he's just kind of in this situation now. You know the scene where they're first interrogating Mason? And the first guy goes in and he gets nothing out of him. And then they just send in Stanley because they're like, well, we've got no other option, so go and have a crack at it. And he goes in there and he just promises him everything. He's like, yeah, you're gonna get out. Yeah, you want the hotel? Go for the suite. You know, like, he's just giving him everything, taking the handcuffs off, getting him coffee. But he gets the cooperation out of him. And so, although it is a really funny scene, the drama of it's played really well as well.
Yeah, there's like essential plot points that have to be conveyed in that scene. And they come across, like, nothing's missing to make the story work.
Yeah, it's not like they're opting for the comedy to take over the sense of the scene. You know, it's still cohesive, it still makes sense, it's still believable, but it's still really funny. Yeah.
Believable for this already established, somewhat silly universe we're in right now. Yeah.
So I think it's so good. So good. I really liked it.
I'm just like checking. I've watched so many Nicolas Cage movies.
Oh,
I'm
You've
drawn
lived a
to a
good life.
movie if Nicolas Cage is there, because he's been like a presence throughout my childhood, you know.
Oh, good.
With National Treasure,
Hell yeah.
Kick-Ass,
Hell yeah.
and all of like these action movies, you know. Like some of these movies, I noticed that I've watched them before. So Con Air, The Rock, I think I've watched it before. Face Off, I might have seen like the end or something. Yeah, it's like he's been a total presence throughout my life, and I do love him. And he's in some movies that are special to me, like Knowing, you know, the one about the aliens and Adaptation. Pig, Mandy, like, it's crazy.
You just mentioned there for a second the National Treasure movies. And I actually wrote down about this movie. This is the absolute blueprint for the National Treasure movies.
Yeah, because he then gets the documents, right?
Yeah,
Like,
my last
Absolutely
note.
is. Like,
My last note is that.
they drop all the presidential secrets that the Sean Connery character knows, like the alien landing in Roosevelt was something I wrote down, which is like such a book of the president kind of secret of National Treasure, you know.
Yeah, this is the prequel, guys.
Yeah, they have the whole chase sequence through the mining tunnels, which is like almost an adventure movie already.
Yeah, I wrote down that mines thing is very Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, it felt super Indiana Jones in that scene.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like action in a way that Michael Bay's never done before.
Yeah.
Because obviously Michael Bay, you know, he's known for the great practical crashes and explosions and stuff like that. And he's really good at directing that stuff. But like in the mines, it's really small almost, you know, it's very enclosed and a bit silly. You know, it's less like big explosions. Ooh, man, steel. It's more just like a goofy little underground chase.
Yeah.
And it's
The
really
cars.
good. Yeah, it's very Steven Spielberg. It's very Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
yeah,
totally felt that, yeah. Like
it's
in
really
comparison
good.
to, you know, the action that it gives us in Transformers. It's just completely,
Yeah.
you know.
Quickly to your point where you was talking about Nicolas Cage being a part of like your life. For one, same. The only film we watched this time that I hadn't seen before was The Rock.
Mm-hmm.
But I had seen Con Air and Face Off before. But I've seen pretty much nearly every Nicolas Cage film. I'm very much on board with Nicolas Cage. I saw Renfield recently, and that's honestly what made me really, really hyped to do this. Just because that film is fine.
Mm.
It's an okay film. You know, it's not great or anything, but it's passable. But Nicolas Cage, every single scene he's in, he brings it. You know, like, and he knows the tone. He knows when to do the serious stuff. He knows when to do the funny, goofy Dracula shit. I bring that up to say that I can tell that's just an evolution of this. You know, it's like, it's him mastering what he's figuring out here.
Yeah.
And obviously we see him kind of figure that out throughout this trilogy. This, you know, not official trilogy anyway. And even though he gets a bit more silly as the trilogy goes, he does have really good dramatic moments in the other two. I love the man.
I think I have the least contact points with Nick Cage out of all of us. I also grew up loving the National Treasure movies.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
I was, however, not really aware of the whole action Nick Cage era, you know? Growing up at least. However, I have seen Face Off a few years ago, and now once I watched Con Air, I realized that I had seen at least the ending of it as well. Like in my mind, I could connect him as an action legend even as a kid, but I couldn't have told you a single movie of this. But this really, really works. I am fascinated by the fact that this one is the most serious one, and considering
One of all the-
that it's
the
the
three,
Michael
yeah.
Bay movie of the trilogy.
I know, that's the scariest part in it.
yeah,
This is the most serious one.
Absolutely blew me away. A few years ago, checked out Face Off for the first time, and I heard amazing things about it. I enjoyed it a lot. I expected a bit of a technically speaking better movie back then. And that's kind of the expectation I had this time going into The Rock. And damn, I was blown away. This is just better on any level you could think about than what I expected from it. It might have my favorite Michael Bay shot. I knew it from imagery before, but I didn't expect it to be in this movie. I wasn't aware that it's coming up. But once he, by the end, lights the two flares, goes down on his knees, and the 5 freaking jets fly directly over him, making the little flower almost shape.
That could have been a cover. The poster. You know?
Yeah, for real. It's such an iconic shot. I mean, what the fuck?
I mean, honestly, there's some like really cool directing choices in this, especially within the fight scenes. Like, fight scenes in Michael Bay movies aren't ever like that special. You know, they're not like John Wick or anything, but they're weirdly rough and imaginative in this film. I mean, you know that the one death where they put one of the balls of the gas in the guy's mouth, and then
Yeah, that was nice.
That's
But I think that I
brutal.
have a problem. Like, I get easily bored with pum pum pum, pow pow pow, ha ta ta ta. You know, they're just
You're about to
doing
start rapping your words.
cartwheels. They're just doing cartwheels through rains of bullets, and I get tired of that exchange, I guess. Other than that, like close quarters fights, they were fun. Especially that scene in the mine, that was pretty funny. When he lit up the guy's legs on fire. Yeah, that was the part was fun.
And even I fully agree. The probably gunfights are my least favorite type of action scenes because for the most part they are hardly ever creative.
Mm-hmm.
But here there was this scene, the standoff in the bathroom, where they just entered the SWAT team or whatever it was, Navy SEALs. And it's not even that much the fight scene itself. Even though I liked it, like, it's absolutely chaotic, but that whole fight scene is supposed to be absolutely chaotic. Like, both sides lost control over the situation, basically. So it makes sense, and it works for that. But the real awesome part about it was the verbal standoff before then. Like, I loved that shit. That was a really well-written dialogue.
Yeah, because you were there watching that, you know that the General Hummel is very, you know what it stands for. He's not a murderer. Like, he's not going to murder these people, and you can see the doubt in his eyes, and you see the doubt in his how do you say, left hand guy,
Yeah.
right hand. It's not left, it's right, right?
Yeah.
And then you begin to question these Marines that, they enlisted, they wanted to save people, and they swore to protect and whatever. What is going through their minds to the point that, they're not getting the money? Why do they even want to finish the job in the first place? Like, why do they want to make a show of forces? I stood there as, the chases were going on and the gunfights and whatever, bullets were flying. I was just wondering the why of the Marines just being so bratty and so, evil all of a sudden. I mean, we did notice from that one scene in the bathroom, that big one, where there was an exchange of bullets. They were like, we're on the same side, like, we don't want anything to do with this, but I cannot stand down, I will not put my weapons down.
Yeah, and both sides had their serious arguments. Like, you could understand both sides' situation in that moment.
Yeah.
It was kind of, the ending of that standoff was kind of inevitable. Like, the moment it started, and the moment the philosophies of both sides were established, you knew where it's going to go, but it was still so intense with both sides trying to de-escalate the situation somehow without ever having an option for it.
Yeah. It was a matter of who is going to fire the first bullet there.
Yeah. And I think then it was even something where someone dropped something and someone took that as a shot, right?
The rock,
Yeah.
Yeah, but those are like the scenes that I would highlight. That one scene, and then towards the end when they, the Marines are beginning to turn on General Hummel. Yeah, I like that one as well.
I would also like to highlight one moment where, in the character dynamic of Nick Cage and Sean Connery, you have that absolute 180 once they found the rockets. So in the beginning, you can see in the interrogation scene, and also when they walk around the rock itself, when it's just the two of them left, Sean Connery is always in control. Like, he knows how to handle the situation. That's his expertise, and Nick Cage is absolutely reliant on Sean Connery. However, once the rockets are found, he has that sentence, "Mason, the second you don't respect this, it kills you," which is almost the same sentence they say to the barber in the beginning about Sean Connery. It's like said with the same the same
Like the
tone
same,
and everything.
mhm.
Yeah, just 1 hour later, so it's a full 180 where Mason is really scared basically of the situation, and Nick Cage is
Yeah.
in full control. He's also the way he speaks, the way he pronounces stuff at that point. He's absolutely a different person in that moment.
Yeah, I think they enter that room and he immediately fires a bullet. Like there's a guy, and then he says, "Don't ever hesitate," or "You cannot hesitate." And then
Yeah.
there's like a guy to the right, just like unholstering his gun, getting ready to fire it. He has like the slowest reaction. And I'm like, what do you mean? You just said you can't hesitate and you just did. Like, that was funny.
I also loved that moment when they are both imprisoned, and the way Nick Cage immediately flees himself into the moral high ground. Like, he talks about them, yeah, what the fuck are those Americans trying to be patriotic, and then he didn't complain once about any ethics or any morals until at that point, and the moment he was backed into the corner, he was like, but I'm the better person.
Yeah. And that scene when they were in prison, it was funny when it was like, so you managed to do this, and that, but how the hell did you get out of that cage?
And
then
that
my
very
guy is like
moment,
trying.
yeah.
And it was very funny because you can see the difference between these two characters when one is like keeps complaining, and like keeps putting the problem in their head, and the other one takes action and is just like already trying to solve the situation.
Yeah, already at works and mainly only complaining about Nick Cage and that he should stop talking.
Yeah. I like The Rock.
I love The Rock. Not Dwayne Johnson, the movie.
You know that I thought that when I saw the title, I didn't like check the poster, and I was like The Rock, and I was thinking this is going to be like some B movie about The Rock playing The Rock or something. I don't know. I was not aware. It took me out for a bit, and then I checked it, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
but
very misleading nowadays.
Yeah, it is.
The Rock really got a different meaning at this point.
I love that little moment where Stanley's explaining what happened. Well, what the situation is to him once they get there. Mason's like, so The Rock's become a tourist attraction now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Genuinely, like, it's such a little line, but try and imagine that. You've been thrown into an inescapable prison, right, for your crimes or whatever, and you're the first person to ever break out of there. It's one of the most infamous prisons ever made. And then you go to jail in a hole in the middle of nowhere for like, I don't know how many years it was. It was like
decades,
30 years
probably.
or something.
30, yeah.
30 years. And then you come out and then you find out that prison's now just a tourist attraction.
Yeah.
Yeah, the place where he suffered.
Yeah, it must blow it. Like, that must be absolutely mind-blowing. Oh, and I also love that scene where they bring back the whole needle in the heart thing. Because Nicolas Cage has to do it to himself.
Yeah, and he does.
They didn't need to do that. They didn't need to bring that back, but they did. Yeah. And I like that.
Also great, like, serious introduction stuff. The way how the first 2 action scenes in the movie are, first of all, the heist when the bad guys, I guess, getting the poison gas, those green balls. And then we get the introduction of the Nick Cage character also surrounding the same gas and just in a different environment where he is trying to disarm this bomb. I thought that was lovely.
Yeah, it's really good storytelling. It really is. It's weird. It's so weird that it's a Michael Bay movie.
Yeah.
America.
One more aspect I can point out is the prop design was great. Like the green balls itself,
they look
super interesting. Yeah.
They look like they could be put on my bubble tea.
Wait, so this is such a funny thing. Wait, so you thought they looked like the bubbles in like boba tea?
Yeah.
And I thought they were like Green Goblin pumpkin bombs.
It's the difference between you and me,
That says a lot. And the other thing that I also realized was beautiful props were the little propeller diving things they had.
Mhm.
You know, the
Yeah.
one-person submarine kind of thing. That was also really pretty.
It was giving James Bond, you know?
It
Mhm.
was.
Wink, wink.
hmm I guess to give some criticism.
Boo.
Boo.
There is obviously quite some stupidity in this, but I just wanted to say it real quick to mention it because the others have more of that. Let's be fair. The music with bass directing is always a little
Too much.
yeah, it could be a little more self-aware in that department, because I feel like this movie is really, at most points, aware of its own silliness. Like, if it is silly, it all feels intentionally silly, but there are overdramatic, cheesy moments with the ending and with like the big reuniting with him and his wife and stuff that really try to be all of the sudden out of nowhere super serious, and they just aren't. You know? and that's kind of where the movie falls apart a bit, but it's such a tiny part of the movie that I can't really complain about it too much, and I will complain about it more with the others.
I love the music.
Yeah,
in Con
I
Air.
love the
I don't know
music.
what you mean.
You're wrong.
I also wrote down a few one-liners of each movie. I think by the end of this, we're gonna have to award which movie had the funniest one-liners.
Oh, I already know which one that is.
Con Air.
No, it's Face Off. For sure.
Nah.
It's The Rock, actually.
Oh, it's The Rock, actually.
Yeah. We're all disagreeing.
Absolutely.
So I'm gonna
Face
make
Off
my
because
case
it's
for The
crazy.
Rock with by naming a few of my favorites. I'm a chemical super freak, actually.
I'm a chemical super freak, yeah.
Was great. Earlier you wanted a gun, now you get a gun with a wetsuit. And you breathe, he breathes with you. You piss, he helps.
I like, honestly, I think they're all great picks.
Mm.
So yeah, do you want to do ratings?
Yeah, I think so. This is a 7 out of 10 for me, unironically. Great movie.
Yeah, for me as well. 7.
It's an 8 for me.
Awesome.
Nice. So next movie, Con Air. Thoughts?
George, you go first. You never go first.
I never go
me?
first.
Oh,
Am I? Yeah, this movie, about the whole thing of being self-aware with tonality and music, this movie basically opens with that. we start into the cheesiest Top Gun romance scene level of unaware. This is a serious romantic scene right now, and luckily it doesn't stay through like that throughout the whole movie. But when this movie started, I was afraid.
Do you know, though, I don't think it's unaware. I think it's really aware. I mean, Simon West directed it, who directed Tomb Raider, the Angelina Jolie one, The Mechanic, The Expendables, Wild Card. Like, his thing just kind of is tongue-in-cheek action.
All right.
You know, he never takes himself too seriously, so I don't think that was like a sincere try at like massive romance.
Maybe it was already for him, like he's so far down the rabbit hole where he made like let's make the cheesiest start ever, and he's like
'cause it's
so many
massively
levels
And
of,
very cliche.
yeah, it's so many levels of winking at the audience that it might have been going over my head again, at least in the first few scenes, that I felt again as if it was meant seriously.
I do think it's very self-aware. I mean, there's that scene where Cage comes off the bus. Is it for the first time before they get on the plane? And like the wind's like blowing in his hair.
His hair.
And he does that stupid little smile, like.
And he has that long coat floating in the wind. Yeah, it's fantastic.
Like he has to be so self-aware.
Yeah, at that point I was convinced, okay, this is self-aware again. I felt like the first romance scene before that was a bit more sincere. Oh, but maybe it was equally as,
I think it was also tongue in cheek.
All right.
Personally, anyway. But it doesn't matter either way. It's funny.
Mhm. Yeah, Con Air. Throughout this whole movie, I had this fun thing going on in my mind where I constantly was reminded of being John Malkovich, with both John Cusack and John Malkovich playing in this, and this just happened like 1 or 2 years before being John Malkovich, so that must have been a really odd experience for them to return to such a different movie together. But yeah, it was quite a lot of fun seeing them this way around. I'm not as big on the general acting in this one. I think John Cusack in particular isn't actually that good of an actor. He worked in being John Malkovich. He kind of doesn't for me here. Malkovich himself, very funny in this.
Yeah.
John Malkovich is one of those. We mentioned it in a different episode, but we mentioned at some point that Philip Seymour Hoffman never has a bad performance, no matter what movie he's in.
Mm-hmm.
That's the same for John Malkovich, in my opinion. Every John Malkovich performance is at least fun.
Mm-hmm.
He has a scale from fun to a genuinely incredible performance.
Yeah, it gives what the part needs,
Mm-hmm.
for sure.
Yeah, like he absolutely killed. And it's such a corny role.
Yeah.
That I feel like only him and Nicolas Cage could have pulled off Cyrus the Virus.
Cyrus the Virus, yeah.
It's so dumb.
I totally forgot about that
the
name.
Virus.
That's amazing.
Cyrus the Virus. As soon as you hear that, you know exactly what movie this is about to be.
Yeah. So Bia, what's your first take on Con Air?
Oh, I loved it because I first forgot that this movie was this movie because, as I said before, most of the movies in the 2000s that I watched when I was a child were movies that were nameless, and they would go on TV, and you'd just click on it and just watch it. You probably catch the movie halfway.
Mhm.
You remember that type of culture where you just sit by your couch and you're like, oh, this seems fun, let me watch it, and it's 20 minutes to the end. And this one was one of those where I watched it with my family back then, probably 2 or 3 times, and I never knew the name of it. So going into the movie, I forgot that this was the movie that I was going to watch, because I didn't know its name. And as the other times, I have a blast because it's just so funny and it's nostalgic at the same time. Watching these types of movies, I don't think that there's this 2000s charm, late 90s charm that it was kind of lost, and the silliness that is allowed into the scripts, it's just so funny. Yeah, I had a blast. I love Nicolas Cage presence in this movie. It's just so iconic. Is it a wig? It's a wig, right?
I don't know, is it? It's such a weird.
It has to be.
It's so weird. It looks super.
It looks so
awkward.
bad.
Yeah. Yeah, you just look at him and it looks wrong.
Yeah, it does look wrong, and I just love that this is a very stern, cold, but at the same time he's very warm for his friends and his family, and he has these anger issues, but he's an American hero, so he's forgiven for that. I mean, he's not forgiven because he's serving, I guess,
Mhm.
but apart from that, he's a very iconic character, in the sense that it's just a caricature, of the typical action hero that American movies usually go for. Apart from that, was curious to see John Cusack in this movie because I didn't remember him. This was probably the first movie that I watched from him, knowing now that he was in it.
Mhm.
because I didn't have a name for him. The first time that I remember watching John was in 2012, the movie about the apocalypse. I love that movie, and I love John Cusack in it. He's one of those actors that, you know, is not very good at his job.
Well
He's
said.
not, okay,
Well
he's
said.
not. But he still tries to give his best. I feel like, you know, he's having fun. He's giving his best, and you know, I'm there for it. And he definitely
Pierre's here like
just giving like
giving out
on his back.
participation medals.
Participation badge.
You did your best, John
participation badge
Cusack.
for him.
You arrived. You were here.
Yeah.
I'm proud of you.
But I have a how do you say it? It's very dear to me.
Yeah.
Because of his presence in movies that I really enjoy, you know, and even if he's not a good actor, you know, it's a face that you associate with certain parts that you really liked and certain characters that you did really liked. So this one was also interesting, and John Malkovich, is just it, you know, it just has that it for villainous characters. I would compare him to, what was his name, the Nazi general in
Christoph
Inglourious
Waltz.
Basterds. Yeah, just, you know, he has that same kind of he gives what the part needs, and sometimes he exceeds that need, and I just love to watch him every single time. It was interesting to see this trio, very unlikely trio, in this movie. Apart from that, concept, amazing, love it, plot, out of the roof, 5 stars. It just keeps you on your toes, you know, and it's just a fun, what I call Saturday movie. You know, you gather the family, you just turn on the TV, and it's the movie that it's on some random channel, and you just watch it, and you just have fun, and you're there for all the emotional bumps in this ride, you know.
Mhm.
Another thing, like talking about emotional bumps in this movie. I cried at the end. I don't know what's happening.
my
Like,
Why are
I
you
don't know if
crying in
it's-
Nicolas Cage movies?
I don't know if it's daddy issues. Like, he was hugging his daughter, like, and I was like, oh my god, that's so cute, you know. He went through all of this rubble, all of these struggles, and he finally did it. He saved his friend. He made a friendship with a guard. You know, he saved her. He saved not America, but you know, the plane with
Saved
everyone
America.
in it, and she saved America. But he saved the guards. You're like, damn, what a hero. And then he gets to, you know, go to his family, meet his daughter for the first time, and she's a little bit, you know, apprehensive at the beginning, but then she just, you know, she folds and she hugs him, and I was like, oh my god.
Do you know, I will say, I liked that they added in that little bit of apprehension
Mhm.
for the daughter. Like, it's weirdly good filmmaking. Like, to
Yeah, it
just
makes
have
sense.
in... Yeah, like, because I expected them to, like, reunite and then she'd just be like, yeah, dad, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah.
daddy. Yeah.
But no, she's kind of like, oh, I don't know about this, actually.
What's that wig?
She-
What's this man?
Yeah, no.
I actually wrote down my very last note on this movie is awful kid acting. She looks terrified from hugging him.
I actually have a note about the wig.
It's a wig, right? I
I
have,
think it's a wig.
yeah.
I
must
just
be.
read that the hair is faker than the accent.
Oh my god, the accent is just so good. Oh god.
I don't believe that accent for 1 second.
No, I mean neither. It's just that good, you know?
It's really bad. It's an awful accent. Why did he have, like, he didn't need it. You know, it wasn't vital to the character to be Southern. He could have been from anywhere. He could have just had Nicolas Cage's accent and he would have been fine.
I wonder if they were like trying to play it for an audience. Like, you know how there's this awful jokes about black people throughout the movie and indigenous people, and I'm like, maybe, the main character being Southern, a good old Southern boy. Maybe they're playing for that crowd. I don't know.
They might be.
Maybe.
I mean, yeah, to be fair, this movie racist as hell.
Yeah.
But like, it's kind of okay because they're all like cons, so they're all supposed to be bad people.
Yeah,
But
I guess.
actually, to be fair, speaking of that, in the comedy, fucking Dave Chappelle is in this movie.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
One of the biggest flaws of this
Pinball
movie is
boy.
how fast they got rid of Dave Chappelle. Like, he was the most hilarious thing about this movie in the beginning. I literally wrote down that this was one of my favorite liners of this movie. You smell like someone shit in your mouth. Well, he told me he loved me.
He loved me, yeah.
And I love
That's
that
a
moment
great
where,
one.
when he sets the guy on fire, and he's explaining what's happened. He's like, I don't know, he was just sitting there and he just spontaneously combusted. I know he didn't.
Oh my god.
But yeah, I was
It's just so
halfway through-
funny.
I was writing a note, right? I was literally like watching the movie, and then I looked down on my notepad to write a note, and I was just writing who the fuck picks on veterans, because I was thinking about the previous scene when those guys beat up Nicolas Cage or whatever, and I was like, in America, who the fuck picks on veterans? Like, no one does that. That's such a weird thing to do in America.
Yeah.
As I was writing that, I took like a quick glance up at the screen, and I was like, okay. And then I looked back down, and then I had to do a double take. I was like, is that fucking Dave Chappelle? What the fuck is Dave Chappelle doing in this movie? I was so confused.
It's the 90s golden era. you know?
Back when Dave Chappelle was like actually funny, This was primetime Dave Chappelle.
Prime.
But on the topic of the cast, one guy that's usually quite funny that wasn't on purpose was Steve Buscemi.
Yeah.
Steve
Steve
yeah.
Buscemi showed up, and I was like, "Oh shit, Steve Buscemi!" Everyone loves the bus, the Buscemi, right? So he showed up. I was like, "Oh, sick man, he's gonna say some funny shit," and he did not. He was
had
scary
a line.
as fuck.
He had a
Yeah, no,
I think
he had
it was
lines,
the
but none of them
girly
was
like,
scary.
do you take medication? And he goes like, no, what was it? Are you sick? Yeah, I'm sick. Do you take medication? No, I can't. No, what
Yeah,
was
he says
it?
it's not funny. He says, "There's no medication for what I have."
Yeah, he's pretty.
Yeah, it's like kind of, but I found it funny. Like not funny as in.
He is just laughing at mentally ill people. It's a very sincere line.
No, but this was not about. This was about the pedophilia, right? I don't know.
No, he's on about just he's insane. Medically, he's insane. So she asks if he's sick, and he is. And then obviously, there's no medication for being insane.
Oh, then I got it. I got it wrong. Wrong.
Bia's just
said
sitting
something
there.
else.
Bia just sitting there waiting for the one serious line throughout the whole movie to burst out laughing.
What?
Then he said the thing about the irony in the plane, because
that was
they
quite
were
funny.
dancing to a song that was made by
Yeah,
a
it
band
was Sweet
that
Home Alabama.
crashed
Yeah.
in the plane. Yeah.
I mean, it was a funny line, but it was like, it was a joke, which is the difference. Like, a lot of this film is funny because, like, the context is funny and the way people deliver lines is funny. But that was like a purposely written joke.
Oh,
if you get what I mean.
yeah.
So
But I don't
it
think
feels
his
different.
character. I don't think his character asked for a very upbeat thing.
That's
I
true.
don't know.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
It's not that. I just find it weird that Steve
Weird that
Buscemi is
he
in
would
a
go for
film
it.
that, has a lot of comedy in it, but he's the only thing that isn't comedic. He's in a film with John Malkovich, and he's the serious one.
Yeah.
It just feels very, very crazy. But I do agree that Dave Chappelle went out way too quickly.
It did. It's a funny character.
He didn't have enough. He didn't have enough screen time.
Yeah.
Also, can I just say, Steve Buscemi should be doing way more character work, like way more non-comedic roles. I've said this before, but he has so much potential, and it just gets wasted on Adam Sandler movies. Now, I love The Sandman. Don't get me wrong, right? Grown Ups is my shit, but Steve Buscemi has been wasted his entire career. Like, he has, like, what, 2 serious roles? He has this, which is weird to say that this is one of them.
Serious one.
This and Reservoir Dogs. That's pretty
Let me
much
check
it.
it
Big
out.
Fish. It was on Big Fish, wait.
I guess so, yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember what he played in King of Staten Island. It's been a while.
He's like Bill Burr's friend. Like, he's also a fireman.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but even it's a comedic role that is.
Mhm.
You know, he's telling the story
Mhm.
about Pete Davidson's dad, like, being on cocaine or whatever.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, you're right. Like, of all those roles I've seen, yeah, there's really not that much serious stuff in there.
Yeah, it's quite weird, isn't it? But yeah, Steve Buscemi kills it.
Mhm.
And I feel like his character should have had more screen time, honestly. Because they built up to him as well, like a lot.
Yeah.
You know, there was a lot of mythos, and then he was in the cage, and then John Malkovich was like, yeah, we shouldn't blah, 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 cage. And then he does that, big fan of your work. I love that. And then you let him out, and he doesn't really do much the entire time. He just kind of sits there and says things every now and then.
Yeah, he's the red herring of the movie.
To talk about jokes, actually, he does say something that was really funny. It was fucking crazy, but it was funny. Where Nicolas Cage's character, we should learn their names.
Cameron. Poe.
Oh, right, Poe, isn't it? Yeah. Right, Cameron Poe. Yeah, when Cameron says to him, you murdered, like, kids or whatever. And then Steve Buscemi's character says something like, the last girl I killed, I drove through, like, 3 states wearing her face as a hat.
Yeah. That was insane. That's crazy.
Damn.
That's like some real Hannibal Lecter line delivery bullshit.
Mm-hmm. For
I just enjoyed it. Also, can we just give props to Nicolas Cage for a second again? He is fucking ripped in this movie.
Yeah,
True.
he is.
Yeah.
I wasn't prepared for how big he is. Like, because when he's wearing like the coats or the shirts or whatever, it's fine. You don't really notice it. And then he goes just into like the tank top thing.
Mm-hmm.
And his fucking biceps are like, he's like John Cena. Like, what the fuck happened to Nicolas Cage for the few months of this?
Is this probably his only role? No. Was he buffed on Kick-Ass? Probably.
I don't think so. I mean, we don't really see him outside of the suit that much, do we?
Uh-huh.
So, probably not. Yeah, he's buff as fuck in this movie.
He was going for the American hero, you know?
Yeah, he was. He really was. Like, he put in way too much effort for Con Air. Like,
I mean,
also,
it paid off.
It did. It did. Also, another thing, the name, Con Air,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is fucking stupid. It's hilarious, beautiful, sums up the movie perfectly. Because, when you don't know what the film's about, you're like, Con Air, what the fuck does that even mean?
You won't decipher it beforehand. You don't really spoil yourself by knowing the name, but it's kind of perfectly dumb, simple description of the movie at the same time.
Con Air.
Yeah.
And then John Malkovich says it, and then you're like, oh, yeah,
They said it. Yeah. And I love how they have a eagle in the poster between Con and Air.
True American bullshit. This is. I mean, we spoke about this before recording, but that poster's horrible. It's the worst poster I've ever seen. It's so bad.
So
it's shitty, and I love it.
Particularly for the people checking on Letterboxd right now, that's not the problem has been removed there. But if you look it up,
has it?
Yeah, on Letterboxd it's just a clean one. But if you find the poster where they have the names on them, then you will see that the names they do not line up with the faces of the actors.
I mean, I just want to point out
to the left.
Yeah, and also it's wrong. It's the wrong order. Look at the names and the faces.
It's just the names are over the wrong faces. It's so bad. But even without the names, just looking at the poster on Letterboxd is a fucking awful poster.
Yeah, it's still not a great poster.
It's really bad.
Really not.
It's awful. Like, it's
like,
so bad.
Why so much fire? Jesus Christ.
Why is there fire?
Why?
Where is the fire coming from?
It's for Dave Chappelle's character, you know?
There is like no fire in this entire movie. And then And then they got this guy with the 2 guns at the bottom of the poster.
Who's that?
Who is that?
Yeah.
I think it's the militant, like black revolution. Oh my god, black revolutionary guy.
Oh wait, is it yeah,
didn't
Ving Rhames?
Let me see.
His character Nathan, I think it was.
Diamond Dog. Yeah, it's him.
Yeah. Why is he on the poster? He doesn't need to be on
I
the.
was going to say
He has,
something.
and he's like the central thing in the poster. He's right next to the fucking plane.
Yeah.
It's so bad, like it's awful. At that rate, they should slap Dave Chappelle on there.
Yeah.
Steve Buscemi should be on there, and Danny Trejo should be on there as well.
Mhm.
Also, can we talk about Danny Trejo in this movie?
Danny who?
What the fuck? Danny Trejo?
Oh, the rapist.
Yeah.
Not
Machete.
Not the actor. The character.
Yeah. Bro, what the fuck? He just loved rape. Like, that
Yeah,
was
it
like his whole
says.
thing. He wasn't just a rapist, you know? Like, he loved rape. That was like his thing.
Yep.
You know? He didn't care about anything else. He didn't like movies, video games, nothing. Right? He wasn't trying to
Rape.
play no Mario. He didn't want no alcohol. He just raped. That's it.
Yeah, everyone
Like,
needs a
that's
hobby.
crazy. That's so bonkers. Like, even John Malkovich's character, you know, he killed. Cyrus the Virus was a killer.
Yep.
But he didn't like get out and just be like, yeah, kill. You know, like he had a little plan. Danny Trejo was like, as soon as I get out, fucking raping.
Right.
Like, Jesus, dude.
Mm-hmm.
But you
Yeah.
know, I like the weird morality of Cyrus, where he hates rapists. It's super weird, like his ethics,
Yeah.
because
I
you
didn't
know,
even think twice about the ethics of the characters in Con Air, let me be honest.
yeah, but like, how weird is it, right? That Cyrus hates Johnny's character because he's a rapist, right?
Uh-huh.
But then, Steve Buscemi's character, I think it's Garland Green. He's a big fan of Garland Green, who kills children.
Rapists, for me, you're somewhere between a cockroach and what white stuff that accumulates at the corner
Yeah.
of your mouth when you're really thirsty.
Yeah, so he despises rapists, but child murderers are cool.
Yeah.
Like, his politics are super weird. I wouldn't vote for him.
Okay.
But I will give him that. He could organize my next holiday. He seems to be good
true,
with
damn.
trip planning, you know.
Big planner.
I love how crazy smart they made him as well. They made him, like, goofy smart.
Mhm.
There was like, yeah, he has like 3 PhDs and... Okay. He also goes by the name Cyrus the Virus.
Cyrus
so-
the Virus.
We gotta draw a line somewhere. There's no way he has 3 PhDs and he's Cyrus the Virus. It's
No, but-
one of them.
But that name just gave us the best line ever. When he's going to burn, what was his name? The guy that had to give the plane for them to, go
Yeah.
on vacation.
Yeah.
He was about to burn him, and he goes like, "Sigh," and he replies,
Oh, A&R.
"Oh,
yeah.
Nara." I laughed out loud to
Oh,
that.
it's so stupid,
Oh my
innit?
god,
It's so
it's
bad.
so good.
It's fucking awful. I love it
That
so
line
much.
was great, yeah. Gotta give him that. One of my favorite scenes throughout the whole thing was when Dave Chappelle falls from the sky. And you have that sequence before that with just a random old couple we just got introduced to standing at the crossway, classical music playing, and all of a sudden Dave Chappelle is like, BAM! Beautiful. Beautiful
That
art, I might say.
What a movie.
What a
What
movie.
fucking I mean, I know we haven't really spoke about Nicolas Cage for this film,
Mhm.
but I feel like everything is just as crazy as Nicolas Cage is in this film.
Yeah, true.
So you kind of have to highlight everything,
True.
Mhm.
because there's not a second of this film that isn't ridiculous.
I
I mean,
mean,
I think it's
yes,
Go on.
but also I feel like this one felt a bit bloated compared to the others, at least. So I don't have any statistics on this, but I wish I had. I feel like this movie has the most dialogue out of these three, and the dialogue is not as consistently funny as like the few absolutely hilarious lines that are in there, but you know, it's still compared to I mean, felt like it's a bit stretched out due to the dialogue.
Oh no, I meant more like everything is evenly insane, whereas say in The Rock, Nicolas Cage himself is on a different level to everything else in terms of insanity.
Yeah.
But like Nicolas Cage and Dave Chappelle, they're both kind of on the same level.
Yeah, true.
On goofiness.
True. For sure.
I mean, even John Cusack, who's playing like the straight man, isn't really the straight man. He's like fucking up the other guy's car.
Yeah, true. Was this... I'm getting things confused already. Was this in The Rock or here where in the chase scene they derailed a tram? So like
that's The Rock.
Okay, that's what was in The Rock. Okay, more plus points to The Rock then.
Yeah, that's a really good chase scene.
Yeah.
Michael Bay blew the budget on that one. I am actually, unironically, impressed that they was able to stretch so much out of such a little concept.
Yeah.
Like, every time you're like, okay, this is definitely where, like, this has got to end. It doesn't end.
Yeah.
Like,
They
it
go
goes
back into the
fucking
plane.
crazy. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how they managed it. I mean, they ended up doing a fucking, like, D-Day Storm of Normandy scene where they're just trapping in these these poor men that have come to arrest them. And they just create this, like, little valley of death. Yeah, no, it's stupid. And I like it. And I like the old man that was under the truck, you know, that said he needed to piss.
To be the odd one out for once again, some serious criticism. Cinematography is at times really beautiful in this one. That being said, the editing might be the worst one of the three. There's several points throughout the movie where in any given scene they might cut back and forth 3 times between the same camera angle and nothing new gets revealed at any of these cuts. Like they are absolutely purposeless. They are just there to make the movie not feel as long because something happened. Ooh, the image changed there for a second, even though it is the same image we have seen 3 seconds before that as well.
Okay, listen, I hear you, yeah? I hear you.
I hear you, yeah.
But think about it for 2 seconds. Think about what you've said. Your criticism is that Con Air has bad editing.
Yes.
Now, I don't want to take away from your point, but it's fucking Con Air.
Yes,
You know?
but here's the point. We're still talking about like all of these movies are dumb. That was the sole premise to begin with. We all established that rule. That's how far we are already on one page. Here's the thing. I just tried to like find the differences in those, and The Rock didn't have that bad of an editing, and Face Off was worse than The Rock when it comes to editing, but it was still better than Con Air. So I might as well point it out here that editing, not that great.
You're just comparing the rottenness of apples. You know?
Fair enough.
They're all inedible. It doesn't matter.
But you know what? You gotta give them these movies the same level of criticism you would give to, you know, a normal movie, a movie that you enjoy, that you consider, you know, more polished. Because it's fair. We love cinema here, you know. We gotta be fair.
Listen, Bia, honest, I love you, but there is no way you are telling me that I need to view Con Air, Face Off, and The Rock in the same breath that I view Blade Runner 2049. You know, I can't. I'm incapable. And I wish that I was capable, okay?
You gotta give it.
But it's not Citizen
chance,
Kane.
You know?
It's not The Shawshank Redemption.
You know, it's not enough to talk about good moments of editing in movies, okay? It is important also to highlight bad editing, okay? How can you tell that you have good editing that if you don't know what is
what
bad,
bad editing is? Exactly.
You gotta have the scale. You gotta put the things on the spectrum.
Okay, but I just feel like we're picking on children here. Like this film isn't reaching for the stars. You know, it's not trying too hard. You know, the guy's just saying, point the camera that way, point the camera that way.
Maybe Sir Simon West and Chris Levinson and Glenn Scantlebury and Steve Merkovich, these are the names of the editors. Maybe they did give their best, you know? And we gotta let them know.
That is very sad if they gave their best.
We gotta let them know if they did a good job, you know?
They did. They did a fantastic job. I fucking loved it. Give them more work. I want them to edit the new Dune film.
Yeah, I think the movie could have been like 15 minutes shorter, and if you would have removed a bunch of those useless cuts, then you might have gone down that amount of time.
I think the film should have been 3 hours. I wanted way more. I nearly cried at the end of this film just because it was over. I wanted more. You know that moment when they crash in like Las Vegas, and then they're all crawling like underneath the wreckage to get away.
Yeah.
I was like, oh man, they're gonna be able to stretch like another hour out of this. Where are they going? Like I thought there was way more, and then it ended, and I was really sad. Also, I just want to say that Bia is the first person in history to not cry just one, but 2 Nicolas Cage movies.
Whoa, let me surprise you.
Oh no.
Oh boy.
She cried at Face Off.
Let me.
Bia, if you cried at Face Off, I'm quitting the podcast.
Honestly, I don't remember. Honestly, I might have.
Oh, we can't be doing
No,
that.
I did not, because the ending is stupid. I remember being like, this is stupid. No, I might have.
Ending where you're like, nope, not buying it.
No.
Yeah, Bia was already prepared. Like, she prepared her handkerchiefs and was sitting there all ready to wipe them away. And then she was all surprised when all of a sudden it was a dumb ending? What?
Oh, no.
Okay, so ratings. George?
It has 6 out of 50 stars on the American flag.
6 out of 50? God damn.
No, 6 out of 10.
7 stars on the military uniform.
7 stars?
7. I had fun. This movie is special, okay? I forgot that this movie was this movie. So,
Love when
it's
that
a special
happens.
one.
Always a good indicator.
And I am going to give Con Air a 9 out of 10.
I am not surprised.
There was not a single second I didn't love.
Yep.
Wow. I guess that brings us to Face Off.
Face Off is fucking amazing. Face Off is so good. When this movie was over, I literally nearly pressed rewind and restart. Like, I was so ready to watch this again. Like, it's genuine insanity from the jump. The cameras start rolling, and then Nick Cage comes up with the choir scene in his weird priest outfit for whatever reason. They don't explain why, where he is. He's just doing stuff. And it's sick. It is so good. Oh, the faces that this man pulls. I didn't think humans were capable.
This might end up being my lowest rated movie today. However, I think I laughed more at this than at the other movies. It's really absolute batshit craziness. If you watch them in this order, then you also saw the progression of Nick Cage just going further and further down the rabbit hole into absolute madness of overacting. This is still taking it 10x to anything the other movies did. It's from the get-go until the end. Nick Cage just doing absolute Nick Cage insanity, and despite John Travolta trying to keep up as hard as he can with being as batshit crazy as he can channel himself, it's still Nick Cage stealing the show all the way through.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But honestly, John Travolta is so much better in this movie than you could ever expect him to be.
Yeah.
His Nicolas Cage like physical impression is golden.
Here's the thing. I totally agree. He absolutely got the Nick Cage character down, but whatever his own character should have been is absolute batshit worse at it. Like, that's so horribly acted when he's playing himself.
Yeah, it's really
that
weird.
was really bad, but once he put on the Nick Cage facade, he was amazing. And then once he returned to his normal character, it was like, ooh, what are you doing there, man?
I think honestly, this movie just proves that John Travolta should have gone down a Nicolas Cage route. You know, he should have just kept doing stupid, batshit insane movies rather than trying to be a serious actor, because clearly that's not his thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not his thing. This is his thing. He found a groove in this movie. Also, Cage did. Like, we know Cage is crazy.
Yeah, this is where it's all really started, you know, that like this performance is this is what made his career for the next 10 years following after this.
I mean, yeah, this scene where he wakes up from the surgery, because he's supposed to be playing John Travolta's character at this point. That scene where he first wakes up and he's looking in the mirror, he crushes that scene.
Yeah.
Like, it's weirdly good, actually, like how well he sells that, because he portrays this like actual genuine horror, you know, of waking up as like your worst fear. It's fucking crazy.
This definitely inspired a scene in the new Avatar movie.
Did it?
I mean, the scene where the general wakes up as...
Oh.
It's the same thing.
That tissue. You might not be wrong there, you know.
Mm.
Also, can I just say, I just quickly looked up the cast for Face Off. And John Travolta's like Google picture is horrific. Just scared the shit out of me. Just a big bald John Travolta.
Like, John Travolta is one of those actors that I just don't really care about. I couldn't think of like one performance. Maybe Pulp Fiction, I guess, but like even that, it's not special enough, you know? Yeah,
I get what you mean. He's like an actor that when he's in something like that I'm already watching, I'm like, oh shit, it's John Travolta, and then, you know, I'm a little bit happy. But I will never watch a movie because he's in it.
No.
Like, ever. Yeah. It's not like you know, anything.
He's no Nick Cage.
Yeah, no. I will watch a movie strictly off the strength of Nicolas Cage being in it, because I know even at its worst, he's gonna be funny.
Yeah, it's gonna give us something.
Yeah, like he gives 100% in every single movie he's in, and I can totally respect that. So even if the movie's dog shit, you're getting something from Cage.
I totally agree. But I liked him here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh god. I love John Travolta playing Nicolas Cage.
Mm-hmm.
Every
it's just
scene,
so seamless. Yeah.
Yeah, every single scene where he's like playing it up, like where he's truly embracing the insanity.
Mm-hmm.
It's this film at its best. 100%.
Here's the thing. I heard, like, I'm not 100% sure if that's true or just like an urban legend, but I heard that John Travolta and Nick Cage hated each other on set, and they're playing it up for like to act like the other person. They were really trying to overact it and make fun of the other person rather than accurately portray them. And now we're like praising them for how well they got it.
Damn.
Yeah. But it kind of makes sense that it it would turn out that way and we would appreciate it, since it is such an over-the-top movie that the overacted reenactment of the other person kind of fits perfectly into the tone whilst still portraying the other person, you know?
George,
yes.
I really hate to like burst your bubble here, but after a bit of research, it turns out that Nicolas Cage and John Travolta actually really loved each other on the set.
Oh, really?
Of Face Off, yeah, and they would study each other's performances like very intensely. Like they would do like scenes, each other's scenes where they're supposed to be impersonating each other, so they could get a better idea of what to do when they're filming it.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so apparently
that's
they were
such a wholesome
really
twist to this wrong urban legend that I kept on telling.
Just spreading misinformation on the
for
internet.
Real. And you're listening to 3 Euros per movie.
We should just start doing that. Like every episode of this, we'll just throw in like a fake fact.
Yeah, it's like a 1 in 3.
Yeah,
we'll make an announcement that every third fact in this movie is made up. In this podcast is made up.
Also, can we just say the prison that he goes to with the fucking moon boots is insane.
Oh my god,
who
what a
designed that?
system.
Did Ridley Scott fucking decide? Like, it's so stupid. But I did hear that this film was supposed to be set like in the very far future. Like originally, like the original concept was supposed to be like really far in the future.
It's the 2010s, guys.
Yeah, so I think that like that was just a remnant of that original like idea.
Yeah. They already built the set and they couldn't change it because budget is already over budget.
I guess we're doing this now.
Damn, the prison, the magnet shoes and everything. It's all coming back to me.
It's so dumb. I would also like to point out that every single person just completely buys the surgery.
Yeah.
You know, like they tell anyone that'll listen, oh, by the way, I had this surgery done where they put his face on my face and they did the hair and the body and all this, and everyone's like, oh, yep, that sounds real.
Yeah, the funniest thing about the logistics of the surgery is that they just forget or don't care about the details at all throughout the movie. Because in the beginning they just say, yeah, we remove the face, we take the face off, and then we put it on you, and easy job done. Then throughout the movie they claim, and then they had like something for the bone structure of the face, and then even later in the movie they say, and I had to take like his body as well, but that all didn't happen in the actual surgery in the beginning.
It was so weird. Like they said that they were going to swap the bodies or something. Or I don't know, because he asked to keep the scar on his chest. I was like, okay, are they swapping bodies as
he
well?
says,
That's
can you put it back on later? That's it. So when he's getting the surgery to be back into like his normal body or whatever, he wants the scar to be put back on.
So they are swapping bodies.
It's fucking dumb. It's so stupid.
Yeah,
like,
but it's just inconsistent. It's like retconning itself throughout the runtime multiple times.
It's just fucking dumb. Like,
yeah,
absolutely. And everyone just buys into it. Why does everyone buy into it? No one questions it. Like, every time they tell someone, they don't second guess it. They're like, yep, that's real, okay. And then they're just like, I believe you. What kind of shit is that? If someone told me that, I'd fucking shoot them in the face. I'd be like, you're insane, get away from me. That's terrifying.
You just call in the cops right away. Because what's weirdest is that if they are swapping bodies in like, I don't know how, but if they are,
no,
the blood test wouldn't work.
Yeah, no, so the swapping... Okay, so this is the logistics of the surgery in the end. This is what they concluded. They swapped faces. That he got a haircut. For somehow they modeled his body after the other guy, but he didn't take his body. They just modeled his body somehow. I guess he got lipo or something.
Like a suit or something.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know.
I don't know. We got a bum lift. I don't know what happened, but yeah, just something happened. They modeled the body after him, and they swapped the face, and then somehow they got rid of like all the scarring.
Yeah.
You know, it's like I don't know how that works.
It's synthetic. You just don't know the logistics, okay? What goes into the proceedings, the very. I can't. I just can't.
And I love that moment where he gets the face, and then he's about to go into the prison, and he's like just itching his face, and he's like, "Are you okay?" And he's like, "Yeah, just the face itches."
It's the face
That's
itches.
such a stupid line. What do you mean the face itches? Oh, it's
my God.
fucking amazing. I love that the film's called Face Off. Can we just point that out?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
You're not deep in it, right? It's deeper than you think it is, right?
Yeah.
So yes, they're taking their faces off, right?
And
Face
they're
off.
facing,
But they're also
having a face off. Oh my
it's
God.
face off.
It's face
deep.
off, guys.
Deep.
The layers and
Aronofsky could
layers
never.
upon layers, man.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm sorry.
I love that we get the visual conclusion to this whole face-off situation when they stand in front of the double-sided mirror, like who owns a who owns a mirror where you can stand on both sides and it just stands freely in the room. But they needed that because they can then look into the mirror and they see themselves, but it's the other person because they look like themselves. And it's a face-off. Oh my God.
It's beautiful. The poetry, the visual poetry, guys. It's off the charts.
Right, this is what I don't get. So Castor Troy wakes up without a face. He somehow finds the surgeon. That doesn't get explained, but he just knows who he is.
Yeah.
And then they kidnap him, they bring him in. Right,
Not only him, but everyone.
Everyone gets the whole staff in there somehow.
Mhm.
And then he gets the surgery to look like Sean.
Then he kills everyone that knows.
So they can't reverse it. Right? It's an irreversible surgery now, because the only guy that could do it is dead.
Mm-hmm.
But then somehow at the end, they managed to swap back Sean's face.
Mhm.
How?
They had an
How?
explanation, right? Like, oh, I know a doctor. I don't know where.
No, this guy,
Doctor
we
from
get
Europe.
told explicitly many times,
Psychotic.
this is the only guy that can do this. This is not
He
a
thought.
surgery
He
people
thought.
know about.
Crit. You're applying criticism to a movie called Face Off.
Yeah, it's a good point.
Damn.
It is a good point.
No,
It is
but
a
we
good point.
already established this movie is good at retconning itself throughout the runtime, so it makes sense that they would both claim at the beginning that it's the only guy who can do it, and then claim at the end that they found a European who can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
that's just logical. You know?
I love that this film just doesn't care about continuity.
Yeah,
Just doesn't give a shit.
absolutely
Doesn't
bonkers.
care about laws, nothing.
Oh, how do you guys feel about the ending?
What do you mean? Oh, with the kid and all
With
that.
a kid. Like, I just brought a kid to our house. I
Yeah,
was
you
like,
can't just do
what
that.
the hell?
There's a whole process here.
Like, can we
Oh,
do this?
yeah, I forgot
It's just
about
like,
it.
Okay.
You can't just grab like a random kid with dead parents and go, "Yeah, you're coming on with me."
Yeah, and it's like a substitute to his own son. It's fucked up.
He should talk to a psychiatrist. He's like, hey, I brought us a new son since our ones died. And everyone's like, yay.
Yay.
And you know damn well that kid's gonna be like a teenager one day, and then they're gonna have an argument, and he's like, "Well, you're not my dad. You killed my real dad."
No, he's gonna be like, but I'm not him. Like, I could never be him, and that's why you hate me.
Yeah, that's the story.
Scream 5.
No,
I've not.
I have not.
Oh, okay. Do any of you care about spoilers for that film?
I guess
I
kind
always
of. I
care.
want to get to the Scream franchise one day. I just haven't really.
There's just like a weird thing with someone that's the daughter of someone, and they just see like their reflection, and it's like the reflection's always telling them like to go and kill people. And stuff like that, and I imagine that's what Castor Troy's like kid's gonna be like. He's gonna grow up and like Nicolas Cage is going to be in all the mirrors going, Gil.
Yeah, he's gonna have a Green Goblin
Don't
moment.
blow shit up. Like he's like the fucking Green Goblin mask.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The gold pistols are going to talk to him like the Green Goblin mask.
The gold pistol, yeah.
The fucking gold pistols. Oh, and also that scene where he receives the box and he tells his plan to his friend. And they keep going, so you want to take his face
Yeah.
off? I was like, ha, they're saying the thing.
And they say it like 5 times.
Every time they say face off in this movie, I'm like, ha.
I'm always like that in any movie. It's like, oh, yeah, they said it.
The way it is over the top here is was just really entertaining. Like it kind of got funnier the more often they repeated it.
Oh, what a quality movie. I think the only other note that I have on this film is... Oh, no, I have 2. So one is that the practical effects during the surgery were actually kind of impressive.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Like all the prosthetics and makeup and stuff.
I mean, they were also really...
great.
They were visually really proud of it because they inserted that one scene where she's just massaging the new face.
Oh, right, yeah.
Just so you can see it flap around. And it looked cool, don't get me wrong. That's some fantastic prosthetic work there. But they just used that scene to really show off.
Yeah, it looks really good. It's weird. And I have another note that just says there's definitely some like trauma and trust issues from the wife. From now on, like, there's no way he just shows up, and especially the daughter as well, who had her dad like fucking shoot at her or whatever and lick her face. She's never going to be able to look at it in the same way again.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, a child will heal any wound.
Oh yeah, of course.
Oh my god!
This fucking random little kid with the soul of Castor Troy. Find like the exact quote because I don't want to fuck it up.
I can say real quick. There's my favorite shot out of the whole trilogy, next to the big ending scene we already talked about in The Rock, is here when he wakes up without a face, and he goes up to the doctor, and you barely see his like bloody face first, but then you see it in the reflection of the glasses of the doctor, and that was legitimately such a cool shot. I loved that.
Yeah, that was like some Cronenberg shit. That was crazy.
For real.
That was actually like the scene in The Fly. You know, when the doctor sees him for the first time.
Oh yeah, true.
It's exactly like that scene.
Yeah, it gotta be an homage. It's too close to each other.
And yeah, I didn't mention it before we started recording, but my favorite quote in this film is when Sean Archer, pretending to be Castor Troy, says, "Lies, deceit, mixed messages. This is turning into a real marriage."
Marriage, yeah.
What a banging quote.
Pretty good one.
I also love that Sean Archer figured out how to break out of fucking Azkaban on his first day. Like, it wasn't even that difficult for him.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, oh, right, cool. Take the boots off.
He has a deep understanding. As an American hero, as an FBI agent, he has a deep understanding of every facility.
Mm-hmm. There's one scene that was the most uncomfortable scene throughout the whole trilogy, when Travolta goes up to his daughter,
I knew you was gonna say the scene, yeah.
not being Travolta himself anymore, and it's, oh man, he just starts flirting with her and touching her, and oh my god, that was so horrible. Just like, I know, like they are not even related in real life, and she's just playing his daughter anyway. But at that point, I was like fucked up by that scene.
It's weird though, because like he's weirdly like a good dad at parts. It's super random. Like when that guy tries to rape her, like in his car on the front lawn, like a fucking idiot.
Yeah, then he
drags him out the fucking window.
Yeah.
Beats him up and makes him apologize.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's fucking crazy.
Imagine, like, the daughter probably had some of her best father-son experiences throughout that time, and also some of the worst father-son experience throughout that time. Imagine just the psychological damage that the whole charade made on her.
The bill for the psychologist is gonna be really high.
Yeah, there's one psychiatrist that is making a fucking buck off this family.
Yeah, he never needs to get another patient. He's good. Whoever gets that deal, all done.
Sean's in there for sure, right?
Oh yeah.
His wife has got to be in there for sure.
For sure.
His daughter's 100% in there, and that little boy's gonna need it eventually.
The son probably just as much as the daughter. Just imagine, like he killed his father. His father was like the arch nemesis of the guy that is now his father. Yeah, and they were always gonna have a grudge due to that. There's never gonna be like that son is gonna be fucked up when he grows up. Absolutely fucked up.
By the way, you know this film's gonna be absolutely insane as well from when the film starts and he shoots a fucking kid. You're
I didn't even think of that.
This is that movie.
I wrote down from the beginning the Nick Cage introduction with the Hallelujah song.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was
That's
so
just
good.
the best thing ever. And even when it comes back as the John Travolta and he's dancing to the Hallelujah and singing it, I was like, hell yeah.
Why is he wearing a priest outfit?
Because it was a religious convention, I think, at the center. Is disguised, you know? Is camouflaging.
He even goes up to that one random choir girl. Like, is she ever... Who is she? Do we know her? Does she come back?
She's a random person.
Yeah, just random, right? And he just goes up to her and, does his thing. Yeah, grabs
Cops
her.
a little feel. And she's like into it. She doesn't think, oh, this is weird. Father Troy's being a bit odd.
I thought when watching that, oh, okay, so he's super weird and funny and over the top, but that's probably like his inappropriately young girlfriend, which would still be bad. But that's how far my brain tried to explain it away. And then it just turns out that no, that's just a random choir girl that he sexually molested.
It's so funny that he kills a kid. Because we get no context as to this mission, by the way. We know that he was trying to kill Sean Archer, not the kid.
Yeah.
But we don't know why he was trying to kill Sean Archer with a fucking sniper rifle on a carousel.
Yeah, and he just waits for the exact moment where he can get the double kill.
Yeah, we needed context for that scene. Why is he like staked him out onto a carousel with a sniper rifle? You can't just show me that and be like, yep, that's the start of this movie. No backstory needed. Because that is the backstory.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the context. Yeah.
You don't need anything else.
So the backstory needs backstory. Like, it doesn't explain anything.
It's some developing. Yeah.
I love the last Mexican standoff in this one, where they do the whole, quite literally, Sergio Leone directing of it with the super close-ups of the eyes and them looking left and right. But instead of 3 people, it's 5 this time.
In like this shitty little church.
Yeah. The whole church sequence as well was so over dramatic. I loved that one.
Yeah.
Just like 2 movies that we watched for this episode, they had a standoff like that. You know, where there's like probably 5 people pointing guns.
Mm-hmm.
The Rock and this one.
I would also like to point out that 2 movies we've seen this episode, both Con Air and The Rock, both start off with characters that are pregnant with Nicolas Cage's child. And
all
that's
of
kind
them,
of the stakes.
Yeah, all of them.
Oh, right, yeah, because he has a kid in this film as well.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I mean, yes, a kid, not pregnant, but yeah.
Yeah, a lot of kids, man, in this time. But yeah, I've got nothing really left to say about Face Off. I just think it's a masterpiece. I think any objective edit that you would make to this film that would make it better would weirdly make it worse.
Yeah, like you would need a full-on revamp of the whole thing. The weird thing is, I think there is a serious movie in there somewhere that would actually be good if you went a little more abstract with maybe it's like, if it's already far out in the future, you could do it maybe where you can download a consciousness or something, and then
I mean, yeah,
it
if
makes more sense.
Cronenberg did it.
Yeah, if Cronenberg made the whole concept, just rewrote it and then shot it himself, that could have been an awesome, serious, gory
Cronenberg
movie.
would absolutely rip this
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah, there is a good movie in there, but as far as the silly movie, you can't really change anything.
With all these remakes and reboots, can we get a Face Off remake with David Cronenberg?
Yes.
Who would you cast in a modern day Face Off?
I would want Tom Cruise in there. One of them gotta be Tom Cruise. I think he would be perfect. Like, he can act serious. You know,
I don't think I'd want Tom Cruise. I think he's too past it.
Maybe,
I think you
but
need to be young with a lot of energy.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe nowadays it would be too late. I thought of performances like Tropic Thunder, where he was super comedic, and serious stuff like Magnolia. Yeah, if it was early 2000s or late 2000s even, but early 2010s.
Yeah. Say, it gets announced tomorrow that David Cronenberg is working on a Face Off remake coming out next year. What two actors do you want?
It's difficult.
I'm trying to think.
I think one of them, I would want Adam Driver.
I thought of Adam.
Yeah, that's a good idea. He can be funny and he can play serious, both very well. Yeah. He would be really fitting.
And I'm trying to think of like a silly little goofy guy. Like a modern day, not modern day Cage, because you just can't replicate that.
I was trying the same thing, that just isn't.
You guys know Christopher Abbott?
The name sounds familiar.
He's the guy in Black
Great.
Bear.
I
have no proof.
Oh, the guy from Possessor.
Yeah. He would be a funny guy.
Mhm.
Like a funny actor, to play funny roles. It gives me that vibe. I don't know why.
Oh, you know what? I would want Bill Burr in there.
Bill Burr would be amazing.
Bill Burr and what did we say at first?
Adam Driver?
Yeah, Bill Burr and Adam Driver. I mean, come on. That's a Face Off
fucking
remake.
age gap.
It doesn't matter. That's a Face Off remake. You're talking about taking it serious.
Who I'd want? No, I know who I want.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be Adam Driver and Aaron Taylor Johnson.
Oh, I could see that.
Yeah, the guy from Bullet Train and Kick-Ass.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Oh, Bullet Train. I haven't watched that one.
You should. It's good.
It's a comedy?
Yeah, it's comedic, definitely.
Yeah.
Action comedy.
I think I saw some pictures of him.
He's one of the best parts about it. Like,
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
him and
Okay.
completely forgot his name, but the guy from Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
Them two, their like comedic exchanges are the highlight of the whole film.
I mean,
For
Brad
me.
Pitt is also amazing in it, but they
yeah,
are killing
yeah.
it. They definitely outperform him.
Okay, so say you get like, okay, Face Off, but all time. So you can pick any two actors from any era to do Face Off.
Jim Carrey.
Which two actors? Jim Carrey, yeah.
That's kind of he almost gotta be.
And Adam Sandler.
No. I mean, it would be funny. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see like something super out there. Like, imagine you brought, I don't know, Chaplin to the modern day age and told
my
him
God.
to play something
Charlie
like
Chaplin
that.
Face Off.
Yeah, Charlie Chaplin and Jim Carrey in Face Off.
I think
Imagine.
With AI. You just wait. Give it 5 years.
my two picks would have to be Jack Nicholson and Michael Shannon.
That's also good. I like that.
It's a good one.
Oh man, Face Off is so good.
So we're concluding that definitely the best one-liners were in The Rock, right?
No. Unfortunately,
No.
no.
It was Sayonara, you guys.
It was Face Off.
Which one? You couldn't even name one.
I already
I know
did.
you named it.
It's turning
I know
into
you
a real
did.
marriage.
The marriage. But Sai.
It's way better than Sayonara. I'm sorry.
Oh my god, that's quick. That's, it's...
No.
No.
It's The Rock after
We all
all.
agree that Sayonara...
The
and
problem with
that's-
Sayonara
This will be
is-
my memory.
The only
of it.
problem with Sayonara is it only works in Con Air. Doesn't work in any other film.
Yeah,
Doesn't,
that doesn't
if you
care at
read
all.
it, it
Yeah.
doesn't
care at
work.
all.
But, yeah, it doesn't make
The joke in Face Off, you can just read it out of context and
Yeah,
it
but
works.
But it's a great quote for the context, and that's what matters.
Yeah. The beautiful thing about this is, whatever the listener believes right now, that's the winner. So, ratings.
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 Yeah. Ratings.
Beer?
I give it a 6.5
Fair.
out of 10.
George?
This is a 5 out of 10.
And I'm giving this a big old schmacker.
Schmacka.
10 out of 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
A perfect 10. I love this movie.
All
10
right.
for the face, 10 for the off.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Hello listeners, George from the future here, with a quick interruption from the editing booth. The movie selection we made for next episode had to be postponed, so what we're actually going to talk about is Noah Baumbach and 3 of his movies. Starting off with the 2005 released movie The Squid and the Whale, moving on to 2012's Frances Ha, and ending with the 2019 Netflix original Marriage Story.
If you don't want to get spoiled for any of these movies, check them out by the next episode. I'm George.
I'm Bia.
I'm Crit.
And you are listening to 3 Euros per movie.